you're a fan of Sali Hughes' beauty column in The Guardian, or you've ever read her blog, Sali Hughes Beauty, you'll definitely have seen her brilliant In the Bathroom With interviews, where she takes a snoop through people's bathroom cabinets and through their private lives. At the pool, we decided it was about time somebody turned the tables on Sali. So here we are in her bathroom. So beauty's played a big part in your life, hasn't it, from an early age? Mm-hmm. Was it, were the women in your life, as when you were a child, big on beauty?
Yes, not, the women in my life, in my family, were all interested in beauty and concerned with how they looked. And I got that from them, but none of us were really high maintenance. It's not like any of us spent hours getting ready or setting our hair or anything like that. It was just a normal part of life. We always, my grandmother and my mother would never have gone out without paying some attention to how they looked. But it wasn't like this kind of religion that I know some people have. It was just like anything, like reading books, watching TV. It was just like a normal part of our life.
Have you got like a formative beauty memory? Because for me, my grandma had a, what do you call them? A little wooden pot on her dressing table. It was like a powder pot.
Yeah.
And that's like the one thing I can always remember.
Yeah. My earliest memory of anything relating to beauty was I was sitting on my grandmother's bed. I used to spend loads and loads of time with my grandparents, and I used to stay with them a lot. And I was sitting on my grandmother's bed, and she was looking in the mirror on her dressing table, and she was putting on her face powder from a Stratton compact, those kind of gilt compacts, and putting on some Boots No. 7 fuchsia lipstick. I'm not rich, I'm not from a moneyed family at all, so we didn't have kind of luxury things. And we were about to go into town on the bus, and she was putting on her lipstick, and I remember watching her like totally hypnotised, and said, why do you put makeup on your face? And she said, when I'm wearing my makeup, I'm always ready to go on an adventure, is what she said to me. So I'll never forget that. And she said, what about if we go into town now and we meet somebody and they invite us to a lovely party and we don't feel our best and we won't want to go? So we're always ready to go on the adventure. Of course, it never happened. We never were invited to the amazing party. We just went and bought meat and bread and what have you and came home. But that definitely stuck with me. And yeah, that's my earliest memory.
And is that your ethos? Always be ready to go on an adventure?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I go out without makeup tons. I have to say, I'm not my grandmother.
Thank God.
No, tons and tons. So if I'm going out for a paper, I'm literally just going out for a paper. I don't give a damn. I'm definitely not somebody who can't be seen without their makeup. I really don't care. It's fine. But putting it on does kind of make me feel a bit more ready to have fun. Like, I like the getting ready. I like if I'm going out for dinner with girlfriends or whatever, I really enjoy the ritual of getting ready. It kind of puts a spring in my step, makes me feel nice. I love it when I turn up and all my friends are dressed up. I love that. It kind of adds to my sense of fun for the evening. But I can totally go without. For me, that's what makeup is. It's kind of like, who do I want to be today? Sometimes you can't be asked and you want to sit in a onesie and eat a bacon sandwich, and that's fine. And sometimes you kind of want to feel a bit more glamorous, or you need a bit of backbone because you've got a big presentation coming up or whatever. You get to choose who you want to be, and that's why I think it's so powerful.
That's one of the things I think I took a really long time to understand that about clothes and makeup. And certainly when I first started going to the shows, and I used to think, why is everybody spending all that money on ludicrous clothes they're never going to wear again after they've been to Milan? And then you after you've done it a couple of times, you think, oh my God, I really need that armour.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you questioned it though, because I do think that it's important that we always question this stuff. Do we need this stuff? And some of it is born from insecurity, and I think that's something I'm always checking in myself. It's like, do I really want this because it will make me happy, or do I want this because I don't feel good enough without it? And they are important questions, but I think at this point my relationship with fashion and beauty is quite bedded in. I know what it does for me, and it genuinely gives me joy, I think. I mean, I can't speak for you, but when I used to go to the shows every single season, it was just, I just felt fat.
Yeah.
I just felt fat, and I felt like I didn't have the right stuff, and I felt like people were judging me, and it's just not a nice feeling. So you buying the handbag or buying the shoes is just you trying to buy your way out of that horrible feeling, isn't it? But that's not something I generally feel in life. I'm not somebody who feels desperately insecure in other environments. So my relationship with the whole thing is quite healthy, I think.
Yeah, totally about it being fun and just making yourself feel a bit better.
And creative. Nobody ever talks about beauty as being creative, and I think it's hugely creative. And I genuinely feel sorry for men for not having it, genuinely, because they just always look the bloody same. Nobody wants to look the same every day, and men always look the same. What are they going to do? Grow a beard, maybe, have a slightly different haircut. Whereas if you're a woman, you have so much at your fingertips, and you can kind of express your mood and your identity in more imaginative ways.
Is that why because you moved to London when you were really young, didn't you? 15, 16?
And it was about 2 weeks before my 15th birthday, so technically I was 14, but I was basically 15.
Scary. Did you run away?
Yeah, so I ran away. I woke up one morning and I got my brother David to lend me £20. He gave me a £20 note, and I walked in my school uniform up to the train station and bought a ticket to London, a child ticket to London, which was £12.50. So I had £7.50 left. So I arrived in London with £7.50.
So you didn't, because what I was going to ask you is, because beauty was so important to you, and you worked as an assistant to a makeup artist, didn't you? It was one of your first jobs?
So what happened was, I got here, well, I didn't get here, not Brighton. I got to London, and I had no money, and also, although I could do bits and pieces of work experience, I couldn't immediately because I was too young to be insured. And then one night I was in a club called Fred's in Soho that I used to go to quite a lot. I'm 15 at this point. And I was a real nerd about fashion and beauty, and as we discussed, always had been. And I was introduced in Fred's to quite a famous makeup artist at the time called Lynn Easton, and I knew who she was straight away. And I got talking to her and I said, I love your work, I loved this shoot that you did, I loved that shoot that you did, because I had this kind of encyclopedic knowledge of magazines and so on. Oh, you know that shoot you did on the beach? No. Oh, well, I do, and I knew everything about her work. And she said, oh, well, you seem to know a lot about beauty. Do you want to be my assistant? My assistant really gets on my nerves. She said, my assistant really annoys me. I'm looking for an assistant. Do you want to be my assistant? So I said, yes, I absolutely do. So that was that. And then she rang me 2 days later, I think, and said, we've got a Pet Shop Boys video. And that was my first job.
In Pretty Honest, you address all kinds of moments in life that change the way you feel, the way you think, your skin. So like the chapter on motherhood was really popular, wasn't it? Was that come from your own experience?
Yeah, I was mental when I had a baby. Like I properly was depressed. I was so unhappy after I had my first child. My father died as soon as I became a mum, so I became a parent and lost a parent within 10 weeks, I think. I do think that when you're a new mum, everything is so weird and so unrecognisable, and you can feel so at sea that if the thing that makes you feel like you is the lipstick or the decent hair, then I think you should do it. I can totally understand why that anchors you to the old you. It's the biggest identity crisis of your life, becoming a mother. I felt like someone had died. I felt like I had died, and there was this new person I didn't know how to be. And actually, if the thing that makes you feel like the old you is something like that, then I think you should try and do it.
Are there any products you've come across that you thought, actually, that's been worth it, that's going to make me not look younger, but better, firmer? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. For sure. There are definite products that I think make a noticeable difference and that restore. I have to say, I'm not that bothered about wrinkles personally, but I do miss glow. I like glow. So I'm not, I like perky. That's the bit I miss about having very young skin, more than no wrinkles. I'm not really asked about those, but I do like to restore glow. So I like products that give that back. So I do tend to use lots of acids and stuff to restore that. BioEffect, really, really expensive serum, but you only use it in a short burst. You use it until the bottle runs out. You just use it every now and then. That really, really works.
What's really, really expensive?
That costs a fortune. It's like £100.
Oh my God.
On the whole, though, I'm not really a journalist who very often tells you to get something that's over £100. I don't, just because I think if you stay, I always say to people, if you don't have much money, spend your money with people who have tons of it. So if you don't have squillions and squillions of pounds, actually the research and development at Olay, Nivea, Clinique, Estee Lauder, Clarins, they have so much money to do research. You're better off spending your money with them than with a tiny niche brand that's charging 150 quid for a serum that actually has a smaller capability in terms of research. So I actually think that kind of department store and even some supermarket can often be more dependable and reliable than the super, super, super expensive things. Which isn't to say I don't like certain expensive things. I love Sunday Riley, for example. Super expensive.
That's super expensive, yeah.
But in my kind of product stash, you will see loads and loads of more recognisable names, more of that than kind of little culty niche things. Because also I just think that journalists can lose perspective a lot because we don't pay for anything. I don't pay for anything. Everything I get is free, and I think you have to, and that's really important to my job. I couldn't do my job if things weren't free. You can only get a balanced beauty coverage if things are free. So that's fine, except I do think you need to keep a handle on what other people have to do to pay that kind of money and how hard they have to work. And if a moisturiser costs the same as an evening's babysitter, then I think you have to think about where the priorities lie for people. So you can't get too jaded. So I think twice before I recommend something super expensive. Unless I think it's amazing, I probably look for something a bit cheaper.
What are your kind of like base products? What are the products that you use every day, couldn't live without, always go everywhere with?
Cleanser. I think that the one thing that you will do for your skin that's more noticeable than anything else is cleanse it properly. If you cleanse your face properly with a cleanser and a flannel, like an oil or a balm cleanser and hot flannel, I guarantee your skin will look better within a week. I guarantee. And you can't say that about many products. Serum, I always use a serum with hyaluronic acid. That's like a definite every morning. My skin's really dehydrated and it just plumps it up. I tend to use Vichy Aqualia Thermal, which is not very expensive. It's about £17. I use that every day. Sometimes I'm testing others and I have to come away from it, but I tend to always go back. Foundations and corrector, Bobbi Brown corrector I always use, always. And on the whole, I think wipes are a bad thing. I think if you're at festivals, if you're in hospital or if you're on a flight, fine. But if you're at home, I think they're immoral. I think they're so wasteful. They just end up on landfill. They cause so much pollution. I really hate them ethically, but also they just don't clean your skin properly. I don't believe in them. I think they're awful. It's a bit like kind of never having a shower or something. I just think it's a bit gross. And cellulite creams I would never use. I would never use a cellulite cream. I would never use a bust gel. I would never use anything that claimed to affect fat in any way. And I don't ever use things that claim to restructure your skin.
What was your best find of the last year?
I think I've written about this loads in the past few months. There's a Givenchy foundation called Le Temps Couture Balm that I absolutely love. That's just like a daytime foundation. And then there's a new foundation by Guerlain called Peru Gold. And it's the best foundation I've used in 10 years, but it's a completely different one to the Givenchy. It's like a full coverage going out party foundation, not a daytime kind of soft thing like the Givenchy. Both of those are amazing. Really, really, really impressed with those.
Is foundation your Desert Island product?
No. So my Desert Island product, assuming that I've already got sunblock.
Yeah, cheating.
Oh, well then sunblock, because I don't want to get skin cancer. Well, I would choose sunblock, but if I was allowed another thing, I would probably choose, if I was trapped on a desert island, I would probably choose a red lipstick to cheer myself up. It would just make me happy and yeah, I wouldn't really care about how I looked. It would just, the idea of having a bold colour on this sort of desert island landscape would cheer me up.